Hola, and welcome to another episode of One Line at a Time. In each episode of this series, we analyze one sentence in Spanish, and I point out anything interesting or tricky that gets my attention. In this episode, we're continuing with the Netflix series, The Good Place. If you want to go back and catch up, you can find all previous episodes of One Line at a Time at SpanishDude.com/lines. Okay, here we go. Eleanor finally met her soulmate, Chidi, and asked him where he's from. In English, Chidi answered, "I was born in Nigeria, raised in Senegal, but my work took me all over the place." The subtitlers translated that as, "Nací en Nigeria, me crié en Senegal, pero por trabajo fui a muchos lugares." Vocabulary-wise, the only thing that sticks out here is the verb criar, from criar. Criar means to grow up or to raise as in to grow up. Criar can mean other things too, but it's most commonly used as to grow up or to raise. But then, why is it me crié? I raised myself? Why is it reflexive? To refresh your memory, a clause or sentence is considered reflexive when it refers back to the subject at some point. In this example, me crié is short for yo me crié. The subject, yo, and the direct object, me, both refer to the same person in reality, the speaker, so this sentence is considered reflexive. There's a lot going on here, but without going into the whole passive versus active thing or diving deep into objects and object pronouns, here's a little rule of thumb you can use with the verb criar. When talking about being raised in general, like in this example, criar is usually used reflexively. But when talking about being raised by somebody, criar is usually used non-reflexively. It's just something you've got to remember for this specific verb. When Chidi said he was raised in Senegal, he was speaking about being raised in general. He didn't mention who raised him. That's why the translators used criar reflexively, me crié en Senegal. If Chidi had said, "My mom raised me in Senegal," that would have been "Mi madre me crió en Senegal." Now the subject is mi madre and the direct object is me. Mi madre and me don't refer to the same person in reality, so this sentence is not considered reflexive. If you didn't get any of that, you should probably check out the videos I made about object pronouns, reflexive verbs, and se. A link to a playlist containing all of them is below this video or in the description. Now, I do want to point out, me crié en Senegal, even though that does more literally mean I raised myself in Senegal, Chidi isn't necessarily saying that he didn't have parents or that he really raised himself. It's just the way the grammar works with the verb criar in this context. Next issue, the preterite tense versus the imperfect tense. The subtitlers went with the preterite tense for all three verbs in this sentence. Nací, crié, and fui are all preterite tense conjugations. In general, the preterite tense is used to talk about what happened, while the imperfect tense is used to describe how things were, when whatever happened, happened. In this context, Chidi simply listed a bunch of events that happened in his life. He was born in Nigeria, he was raised in Senegal, he went to many places. That's why the subtitlers went with the preterite tense in all three cases. They were all events that happened in Chidi's life, and when talking about what happened, the preterite tense tends to be used. Usually with being born and being raised, the preterite tense is used. But not always. It's important to remember, in reality, we don't do actions in the preterite or imperfect tenses. We just do actions. The preterite and imperfect tenses are two different ways we can frame those actions in our stories. I've seen plenty of contexts just like this, or very similar, where the speaker uses the imperfect tense for being born. Here's a recent headline about the band Pink Floyd. La mítica banda Pink Floyd nacía hace 57 años. The mythical band Pink Floyd was born 57 years ago. Regardless of whether they use the preterite or imperfect tense here, nació or nacía, it could still translate to Pink Floyd was born. It's just with nacía, with the imperfect tense, it has more of that on this day Pink Floyd was being born vibe. If any of that confused you, check out the videos I made about the preterite and imperfect tenses. A playlist containing all of them is below this video or in the description. Last thing, por versus para. My work took me all all over the place. When they translated this part of the sentence, they constructed it differently. They said, por trabajo fui a muchos lugares, which more literally means, for work, I went to many places. So, in this context, we say for in English, F-O-R, and they say por in Spanish, not para. Before we get into why though, the words in this clause are out of order. It's much easier to see what's going on when the words are in order, with the subject first. So, we rewrite por trabajo fui a muchos lugares as fui a muchos lugares por trabajo. Much better. Even though the subject, yo, has been omitted, it's easier to see what's going on. The reason the translators used por here is work is the reason or cause of Chidi going to many places. Chidi went to many places for work. Chidi went to many places because of work. When the word after the preposition for is the reason or cause of the verb happening, for is probably best translated as por, not para. In this case, work or trabajo caused Chidi to go to many places, thus the use of por. If you can translate for as because or because of, chances are por is the way to go. One easy way to remember that is, in Spanish, the word for because, which contains the word cause, is porque, which contains the word por. And that is all I got for you today. If you want to receive an email whenever I post a new video, sign up at SpanishDude.com/updates. You can't rely on YouTube or Facebook to tell you when I post something. That's SpanishDude.com/updates. Until the next time, my name is Jordan, and that was One Line at a Time.